Tramway Museum. If I could just have everybody's attention, please. We're about to have the official launch of Tram 118, this lovely tram here. But I'd now like to hand over to the President of the museum, Ian Seymour.
So today we celebrate the launch of our 100-year-old bogie open combination tram 118. 70 large trams were built from 1910 on to 1912, and they are of the style like 192 is out in the yard today. And there was also a batch of trams, 20 built, which tram 118 was built that style. And we also have tram 111, which was converted in the 30s by closing on the side. So we have two examples of the E-class tram which ran on the Adelaide Tramway system.
I just want to make one thing very clear, that as the Treasurer of South Australia, I have a lot of important powers, and one is that I can compulsorily acquire anything that I think can better suit the state. So Rod Hook, we're going to take that one back with us when we leave here today. And that'll save us buying a few rail cars. That should be doing service in Adelaide. That is. So thanks very much, guys, for the years you took restoring that, and your blood, sweat, and tears. Your state is proud of you. No, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't dare do that. But what is fantastic is that, and I was at dinner last night with some friends, and a friend of mine's mother was telling me all the stories about when she used to catch the tram from Norwood Parade. I never knew there was a tram on Norwood Parade. And yeah, I'm from Port Adelaide. We don't care too much for Norwood. The only reason you go to Norwood is to watch Port Adelaide beat them at the parade. But I did read with a lot of interest in there before how many tramway companies there were in South Australia and how many suburbs were indeed serviced by trams. I guess it's a bit ironic, I suppose. I guess a lot of you here as enthusiasts would say this to yourselves, that everything old is new again. I guess the world in the 50s decided that trams weren't the best method of operation, the best method of moving people, and here we are in the 21st century building tramways again. And as Rod Hook and I have said it, they are really a unique form of transport. There is no question that people enjoy the experience of trams. As Rod said, you know where you're going to go, traffic, you don't have and there is something enjoyable about being on a tram. And it's taken our state a long time to realise that. It was expensive back in the early 1900s to build tram lines. It's certainly expensive in the 21st century. But what we want to do, and it won't be this government, it will be future governments, but we're laying out a grid, an idea of how we can, when the finances are possible, to see the tram system throughout inner Adelaide at least, continue that expansion. I don't think you should see the line down to the entertainment centre as the end of the expansion. It will be something that governments can do when governments can afford it, and I think there is a very, very exciting future for trams in the modern age of transport. You only have to look what happens in the world now today. And of course we're electrifying the rest of our major rail networks with light rail, so a variation on the tram, but light rail will be very much a feature of Adelaide. I understand that over 64,000 was raised by local members. Somebody actually suggested it might have been closer to 100. I'm not sure what the exact amount was, but clearly it was a great effort by a lot of people to put a lot of money, a lot of their own money and blood, sweat and tears. How long did it take Ian to...
Started about 94, 95 roughly, till today.
95? Well, that's an extraordinary period of time. It would be a bit rough if I nicked it off you, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Appreciate it.
We can swap you one of our older trams. No. But I was out here, John Radcliffe's here, John and I know each other very well. John used to be the head of the Department of Agriculture when I was an assistant to a government minister, and I'm sure I used to annoy the hell out of him. But he invited me out here one day, probably pushed me under one of the trams. But I came out with my two young sons, and to this day they still remember having a chance to sort of steer the tram. They thought they were steering it anyway. But it is a great museum. You've held together a fantastic community asset out here at St Kilda for decades. Congratulations to all of you involved. I'm very pleased to be a part of the relaunch of tram number 118, and the previous owners can be very proud. Thank you very much for having giving the Tram Museum the opportunity to do the work we have today. And I'll finish on this, but as always, it's the volunteers in our community that make our community work, and there's clearly a lot of volunteers involved in restoring our trams. On behalf of this generation and future generations who come to love and appreciate what was the old world of trams, thank you very much, and long may your work continue. Thank you.